survivor is a male. But first, I want to highlight this. When men complain about their trauma...
Michael Rainey is not a survivor. Please shut the fuck up. Men are out here trying to revise what it means to be a survivor, and they're trying to revise sexism, and we're all here falling for it. And the reason why we are falling for it is because we live in a society that desperately wants to protect men. We live in a society that is so patriarchal that we will defend patriarchy to our last breath, because something about being oppressed and being abused by a system that has proven over centuries that its intention is to be cruel and is to violate, something about that turns you all on. Michael Rainey is not a survivor. You survive a plane crash. You survive drowning in a pool. You don't survive one isolated incident where y'all get to come online and have a gotcha moment where you think that now all of a sudden you have women and now you want to make a claim for men's mental health and act like this person was like systematically abused by this woman. Like, please knock it off. But anyway, I've got more to say. And I wrote down these points because I think it's important for us to understand something. Number one, an individual man being violated is not the same as the countless history of the systematic violence that women endure in this system that is upheld by its oppressor, the patriarchy. This survivor language is a very men's rights activism political plot to try and occupy what has been allowed to happen to women for centuries. So basically what I'm saying is that y'all are really just like white people trying to occupy the space of trauma, trying to occupy the space of survivor, trying to occupy the space of hurt that women have endured and are continuing to endure till this day. This language, it reeks of bitterness. It reeks of a bitterness that is attempting to neutralize the movement for women's fight for equality by trying to conflate this one isolated incident with the onslaught of violence that women commonly experience from inception. Yes, inception to death. Now, I want the people that really felt moved by Pierre's content and Pierre himself to really understand that when you make statements like this, you sound exactly like white people who are making the statement and the claim for reverse racism. There ain't no reverse racism. There ain't no reverse sexism. There ain't no goddamn reverse misogyny. And baby, let me tell you something. Misogyny, misandry, it's not the same. Cishet men, in particular, I want you to hear me out. There are very specific circumstances where you get to claim to be a survivor. That can be, for instance, like, I don't know, if you were a young boy and you were systematically or physically abused by some older woman. I'm going to use woman in this instance because I know y'all want to make it like y'all really want to believe y'all are threatened by women. Y'all, like if you were like a young boy and this like older woman or older girl, maybe she was 10 years older than you and you were 3 and she regularly violated you, then you can be like, I survived that. The other incident where you can claim this is in the incidents I don't know, Amadou Diallo, who was violated by the police, physically, sexually, violated, traumatized. That is an incident where you can be like, that person is a survivor. As I said in the comment section on the other platform on Pierre's post, you calling Michael Rainey a survivor is a reach. Because it is a reach, okay? When you use really stolen language like that, kind of like when white people try to steal abolition, when you use stolen language like that, it tells me that you still don't want to own up to the fact that there is a power structure, a completely uneven power structure that still exists, that y'all are still upholding. Even when you use language like this in your videos, you all still don't want to accept the responsibility. You still don't want to accept that there is still this onslaught of violence that is happening to women systematically, globally, because you're trying to cover that up by stealing shit that happens to us. And I say this a lot too when I speak about white people or I get upset with the whites. when they try to steal certain language and steal our trauma. Like, we see it all the time. We see them doing it right now with the Fearless Fund, and we see it with affirmative action, and we see it with this, project, 2025, is that what the hell it's called? I don't know. We see all their plans in place, and the way that they are trying to reclaim and reuse and rehash our language and our history of trauma and pain. I don't know why y'all want to be a part of this so bad. There's nothing glamorous about it. There's nothing glamorous about living inside of it. There's nothing glamorous about experiencing this. But something about y'all, something hatred, some kind of a jealousy that makes y'all can't stand the fact that some people are actually traumatized and don't want to be traumatized. So here y'all go, trying to get a piece of that action. What exactly is wrong with you all? I think during this Men's Mental Health Month that y'all actually really need to look into and unpack what it is about y'all that y'all want to feel this so much. Like, why do you want to have that language? Why do you want to have that history? Because you don't. Right now, we're hearing the stories, we're reading about it, and we're seeing that in acts of war, the kind of power that the patriarchy, that system is holding over the lives of women and girls. We're seeing it. And, and even in cases like the US, where the abortion rights laws are being rolled back, it's the same thing, like figuratively, that is happening. Like, this is an act of war, and they are using the lives and the bodies of women and girls and those who have wombs as a power, as a way to, hold power and have that power. And down the line, our daughters, our grandchildren, even our mothers are going to be survivors of what is happening right now. So I think it's unfair. It's very short-sighted. It's very greedy, if you will, for men to now come in, see an isolated incident, and decide they want to claim such abrasive language to describe it, as opposed to just calling it what it is. It was, yes, a violation of a person's body and space, but survivor? My nigga, come on. You playing too much. Y'all are always trying to jump into spaces where you don't belong. Instead of doing the work, the continued work that needs to be done to undo the centuries of oppression that you all are still holding the power over. The oppression, you're standing on the necks of women. And instead of continuously doing that work to dismantle that, y'all just want to come take over spaces. A lot like what white people are doing right now. Do you want to be like white people? Do you want to be like the colonizer? Because if you don't want to be like the colonizer, I highly suggest that you stop behaving like the colonizer and stop using the master's tools to try and occupy another space and then claim victimhood. You're not a victim, my G. You're not a victim. Now, I don't like 50 Cent, but what 50 Cent said was that this is nothing, this is kind of what men view as being aggressive flirtation. I don't like 50. But a broken clock is right. You know what we say about that, right? A broken clock is right 2 times a day. Basically what 50 Cent is trying to say is that because of the way that men and boys are socialized in society, that is actually not necessarily a big deal. I'm not saying it's right, that what took place is right. But what I am saying is that because of the socialization, because of how men are put men and boys are put into a position of power and control in society. Yeah, that incident happening to y'all y'all are not actually receiving that the same way that a woman would actually receive it. Situations online happen a lot where women do something to men, and then the comment section is like, "Oh my God, if the roles were reversed, yeah, if the roles were reversed, the response would be different because of the way that y'all are positioned in society, because of the way that y'all are trained, because of the power structure. Yeah, absolutely, it will be different." Anyway, look, I'm only making a 10-minute video, but I do want to say, do not let men get away with this. Do not let them get away with trying to even the playing field by covering it up with dirt. This is like fake outrage. This is fake outrage. They're not all of a sudden scared of women. They're not all of a sudden trying to act like they can't walk down the street at night because they see a woman. That's BS. It's fake. I could say more, but I feel like, you know what? Go argue with your daddy about this shit and like fix